Yeah, I'm wild. This is my first video. I'm just playing around. I don't have a plan. My name is Daniel Connor. Daniel Connor. I used to call myself Dan Connor. And the reason I would call myself Dan Connor is that when I would say Daniel Connor, people would hear Danny O'Connor. They're very close. And I do not like being called Danny. So I went with Dan for a long time just for that clarity of the consonants. Dan Connor. Very clear. But these days, I've been trying to go by Daniel. I vastly prefer the name Daniel over Dan. But with the last name Connor, it gets a little tricky. Anyway, thank you for being here. Daniel, I live in Brooklyn, New York, and I am autistic. Found that out this year. That's been interesting. I produce music. I've produced music as Dan Connor. I've produced music as Rational Front. I've produced music as Fly Swata. I've also been in a number of bands. I might go into those separately. But yeah, produce music. I work in cybersecurity. Have been a technologist my whole life. Been programming computers since about the age of 8. Have been in the technology industry since the 2000s. I've been inspired to move to YouTube off of other mediums like Instagram because, well, you kind of have to understand that my social media started back in the Livejournal days. Livejournal being an amazing website where you could post kind of these long form thought dumps, like journal entries, and other people could comment on them, and you would end up meeting all of these interesting, super introspective, creative people from all over the world. And you would build pretty substantial relationships with these people. That is how I met my first wife, Cheryl. Wonderful person. We're not together anymore. But you have to understand that that's kind of where I found my footing, where I found my tribe on the internet, was on Livejournal. So as the internet's kind of been broken down into smaller pieces and people's attention spans have gotten smaller, thanks to things like Twitter and Facebook, those have kind of been the mediums, and people were like, well, why would we ever want to do something like Livejournal? That just seems like a lot of work. And it is, but it's good work, in my opinion. So I've been kind of trawling through the internet, trying to find some place that's a little bit more like Livejournal, where there are these longer format thought dumps. I was using Instagram for a long time, and I would use it in this way, but it was, to be honest, a little awkward. I really struggled with that platform for a long time, and then they started to kind of censor me. They started to get a little bit, I've never liked Meta as a company. I'll just be honest, never have. Prefer Google for various reasons. They are my employer right now, just so you know. But I've always preferred them out of the big tech companies. Even today, maybe especially today. So this is kind of part of what I want this channel to be. These introspective thought dumps. You get to know a little bit more about me. You get to see some perspectives into my life and my thought processes. I think that's great. I would also like there to be interviews with friends and acquaintances and social people here in the city, New York City. There are so many cool, interesting people here with amazing stories. They're doing amazing things, including modest things. People who just have, it doesn't have to be about like achieving big things. I know New York is really known for that. And it certainly draws the attention of people who have the aspirations to do big things. But I'm just interested in interesting people who have passion, fascinating stories, human stories that we can relate to, and that we feel enrich our being because we're exposed to them. I might just wrap it up. It is rather late, but thank you for joining me on the first video. That's kind of an introduction to the channel, a little bit of an introduction to who I am. I hope you have a wonderful night, and maybe I'll do one of these, probably not tomorrow, but maybe Monday. So see you then.